Hi everybody, I'm Christophe Paget and very warm welcome to your channel all about space. This week I shall cover the last preparation of the Orbital flight test number 3 of the world's biggest and most powerful rocket, a short awareness session on Mercury, some development at the Chinese space station, followed by the launches of the week. Starship completed finally its wet dress rehearsals for launch, loading more than 10 million pounds or 4,500 metric tons of propellant on Starship and Super Heavy, and taking the flight-like countdown to T-10 seconds. The orbital flight test number 3 should occur from March the 14th at the earliest according to SpaceX. Now, what is left for SpaceX is basically the FAA launch license. Now, that is going to be an amazing flight to watch, of course. I will cover that event and analyze it in detail for you in the forthcoming episodes. Elon is expecting a 80% chance to get to orbit this time around, so please review my previous episode for more information on that. In the meantime, SpaceX has brought down his Starship number 28 for fixing some of his thermal protection tiles, as you can see on your screen. In my previous episodes, I have provided some basics about our solar system for our new astro beginners. Today, it's time for our last planet in the series, Mercury. Now, Mercury is the smallest planet in our solar system and nearest to the Sun. It's only slightly larger than Earth's moon and a little more than 1/3 of Earth's width. The surface is covered in tens of thousands of impact craters, as you could see on your screen. To give you a perspective of how small Mercury is, the best way is to show you this picture of Mercury passing by the Sun. As you can see, Mercury on the bottom left. It's 36 million miles or 58 million kilometers away from the Sun, or about 40% of the distance Earth-Sun, also called the astronomical unit, and that is on average. Now, why on average? It's because Mercury's orbit around the Sun is in fact highly elliptical. Mercury does not have any atmosphere, but instead has a thin exosphere made up of atoms blasted off the surface by the solar wind and striking meteorites. Mercury's exosphere is composed mostly of oxygen, sodium, hydrogen, helium, and potassium. Having no carbon dioxide, Mercury's exosphere does not create any greenhouse effect and therefore is surprisingly cooler than its further away neighbor Venus, which indeed has a CO2-rich atmosphere. Now, Mercury's surface can be as hot as 800 degrees Fahrenheit or 430 degrees Celsius during the daytime, and as cold as minus 290 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 180 degrees Celsius during the nighttime. Most likely too extreme for organisms to adapt and therefore not conducive of life as we know it. Mercury's poles have water ice. Mercury is the fastest planet of our solar system, going around the Sun, so a Mercurian year, every 88 Earth days, which has given his name from the ancient Roman god of travelers because of his speed. A Mercurian day lasts 59 Earth days. Just to complicate the understanding, one Mercury solar day, meaning one full day and night cycle, equals to 176 Earth days or 2 Mercurian year, so that's rather confusing, isn't it? Mercury's axis of rotation is tilted by just 2 degrees with respect to the plane of his orbital around the Sun. That means it does not experience season as many other planets do. Most of Mercury's surface would appear greyish-brown to the human eye. Mercury does not have any moons or rings. Now, no people have ever gone to Mercury, except for 2 robotic spacecraft, Mariner 10 and Messenger. Messenger mapped Mercury by taking pictures of the planet's surface, including some areas that not had been seen before, and also collected information about what the surface and insides of Mercury are made of. And Mercury is made of similar materials as Earth, with a large core, about 85% of the whole planet. This week was released a video of 2 taikonautes, Tang Hongbo and Yang Xiling, from the Chenzhou 17 crew carrying out a spacewalk outside of the Chinese space station Tiangong from a duration of 8 hours in order to maintain a solar panel on the module called Tianhe, the main module, which started to reduce its power generation due to impacts from micrometeorites. So space is harsh and anything out there is quite vulnerable. Monday, 4th of March, it's time again to send from Space Launch Complex 39A at Kennedy Space Center in Florida another crew to the ISS, the Crew 8 mission, with the NASA commander Matthew Dominic, the NASA pilot Michael Barrett, with lots of space experience, and the Roscosmos mission specialist Alexander Grebenkin, and the NASA mission specialist Janet Epps, on board of a Falcon 9 and Dragon capsule Endeavour. The first stage flew for the first time and returned to site at landing zone number 1, whilst the capsule flown for its 5th time. The Crew 8 has docked at the ISS 19 hours later. It will stay for about 6 months, with a short handover to Crew 7, who will depart in a week or so. The crew will conduct over 200 scientific experiments and technology demonstrations, including new research to prepare human exploration beyond low Earth orbit and benefit humanity on Earth. The crew has safely docked to the ISS and reunited with the other astronauts and cosmonauts, with 2 astronauts very happy to see the commander Matthew Dominic, as you could see on the NASA footage. On the same day, another Falcon 9 took to the sky with its 10th dedicated smallsat rideshare mission called Transporter 10, with 53 spacecraft on board from Space Launch Complex 4 East at Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. Now, all the satellites were released onto 2 sun-synchronous orbits at similar angle, around 98-degree inclination, at an altitude of 515 km or 590 km respectively, or 320 miles and 370 miles respectively. Now, the payload was relatively light, and therefore the first stage, which by the way reflown for its 5th time, had enough propellant to land back to site in landing zone number 4. SpaceX has been on a roll with 3 Falcon 9 launches within 20 hours, this time for another Starlink mission called Group 641, with a set of 23 Starlink V2 mini satellites to the usual circular low Earth orbit. Now, these were sent from the Space Launch Complex 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida, The booster has flown for its 13th time and landed on the drone ship, a shortfall of gravitas in the Atlantic Ocean. Today, I am not leaving with an X-ray of my brain because it would probably be much smaller, but what you're looking at is rather that of a supernova remnant SIMICE 14, also catalogued sharp-less 240. The filamentary nebula goes also by the popular name of Spaghetti Nebula, at the boundary of the constellations of the Taurus and Auriga. It's quite a complex view, I'm sure you would share that, of an impressive gas structure spanning about 150 light years wide, or 1.4 quadrillion kilometers, or even 0.9 quadrillion miles, some 3,000 light years away from us. That's about 28 quadrillion kilometers or 18 quadrillion miles. Now, this composite image uses narrowband filters to identify the various glowing gases, such as hydrogen in red and oxygen in blue. Now, the scientists believe that this supernova remnant is about 40,000 years old. Thank you very much for watching your episode of All About Space. I'm Christophe Paget. See you next week with more space news. Goodbye.